Away from politics with the dust settling on the highly contested Kibra election, the exercise lifted the lid on the country's precarious political and electoral reform system. Cases of voter bribery, intimidation and violence cropping up once again, while some voters missed their names in the voter register as the KIEMS kits failed at some polling stations. Election observers now warning the more progress is made, the more the country backtracks on the same.
It was a tension-filled by-election in a high-stakes game, with one party protecting tough as the other sought to make inroads. With such cutthroat competition, Kibra was charged and highly polarized to the end. Chaos, violence and allegations of voter bribery punctuating the voting.
I thought we had turned the corner of associating violence with elections. I thought we had become mature as a country to a point of allowing others to exercise their democratic right, whether they agree with us or they do not agree with us.
With a number of politicians roaming the constituency to protect the vote, this was reminiscent of the past where by hook or crook, victory was to be assured. And that victory was supposedly assured by mining of polling stations to eliminate possible cheating.
The residents and voters in Kibra have done, and we encourage them to continue doing, is if you find anybody who's holding money, who wants to bribe, it is your right to make a citizen's arrest. Yes. And that is something we will do because the police cannot be everywhere.
Haki Africa's Hussein Khalid was an observer in Thursday's by-election and describes the events as a clawback on electoral reforms so far achieved.
Politicians are taking us back steps, like 10 steps behind. Politicians were hugely involved yesterday in violence.
Several people suspected of bribing voters were arrested during the mini poll, but observers feel security officers, despite their heavy deployment, allowed the free flow of chaos before stepping in.
If you look at the police, for example, yesterday, they remained, aloof, like they didn't know what was happening. We saw incidences of violence, chaos happening right in front of, in full glare of the police.
The Electoral Commission has equally found itself on the chopping board. Suffering an identity crisis from the nullified presidential election, IEBC's KIEMS kits failed in various polling stations, occasioning delays in the voting process, and in some instances, voters could not find their names on the voters' roll despite having voted in the 2017 general election.
There are definite areas of improvement that majority of Kenyans felt we could have done things a bit differently, considering that we're just working on one constituency.
The Kibra by-election might have served its purpose as a test match for the political bigwigs, but also exposed the country's underbelly on electoral reforms. Sam Ogina, Citizen TV, Nairobi.